Hello, I'm Uncle Guns. I'm a self-ascribed historian. I've been involved in the gun industry as a retailer for 15 years. I'm here to tell you about everything you didn't know about some little this or that in my gun library. Everything from pistols, revolvers, semi-autos, machine guns, anything like that. Whatever I decide. You'll tune in weekly, we'll have a little chat, and then we'll decide whether I was right or wrong. This week we're going to talk about the French 1892 revolver, sometimes mistakenly called the French Lebel Revolver or 8 Lebel Revolver. It actually was designed at 8 French ordnance, which is called French Lebel. Nicholas Lebel, famous of the Lebel rifle and the Lebel series revolvers, didn't have anything to do with this design, but it was adopted soon after his earlier design by Saint Etienne in France. This was made just before the outbreak of World War I. Was first initially designed for an officer's side carry piece, but soon was adopted into regular army and cavalry unit use. So this revolver is interesting in a number of ways. As we go over to the table, we will see that we could easily open the side plate, inspect, clean, take care of this revolver. It also has some interesting features, as it does have a loading gate, side loading gate, and also the ability for this revolver to open up and spill out all of the rounds like a conventional revolver might have today.
Now empty those bullets onto the table.
This revolver saw extensive use in World War I, and even as recently as 2018, when it was used in a terrorist attack. Always find it interesting how long things like this have survived and are used, even in today's modern times.
I'm using it.
This revolver was light years ahead of its time, being double action.
Revolvers.
Also, the swing out cylinder, like I just showed you, was very new to that time.
Are you new at this?
It also employed a lot of interesting things like a conventional sight system, whereas a lot of the other ones in the past were ditch sight. But this actually has a raised ramp rear sight. And we've got lots of interesting things internally to this revolver that make it more simple, less prone to breakage.
It doesn't break, jam, or overheat.
8x27 French Lebel cartridge was seen as competent for its time, but unfortunately 32 ACP had just a little bit more power as far as ballistics go and energy transferred upon impact. So this quickly was phased out after World War I, and more 9mm type pistols were put into use for the French military. Fortunately, I don't have any 8 Lebel ammunition at this point in time, and maybe we will revisit this revolver later on and have some shooting range time with it. This revolver boasted a number of impressive features that included the double action feature, which was interesting during that time, because most revolvers copied the Colt 1873 or were akin to the Colt 1873 in the fact that they were single action only. This had 6 rounds that was able to be loaded from horseback, is one of the requirements from Saint Etienne as they developed this revolver. So interesting things like this crane not being able to just flop it out. You actually have to use some force as it stays relatively stationary to wherever you put it in the open position. Also, the cylinder doesn't freewheel like a lot of American guns would have at that point in time. It stays relatively put, so you could load this from riding horseback, which is, again, interesting in and of itself. The quality of the craftsmanship of this revolver was very masterful, as they did case coloring, cold bluing, and hand checkered grips. This would have been quite a prize, and a lot of people actually had a demand for this in the French colonies that existed throughout the world. There were several of these patterns that were made commercially for people that were either colonists or adventurers in French colonies later on after its first development. This particular one was made in 1893, so this one is very early on in the production for the military. You see a lot of the commercial ones around and available. The military ones, a little more scarce, a little more hard to find. But this is a beautiful example of a capture gun as well. It was captured during World War II. Bring back papers that we had come in with this revolver. See how our Army basically didn't care about this thing or the fact that it had anything to do with the French war effort. Use of this revolver in World War I in the trenches would have been problematic. Lots of mud and dirt would have stopped most revolvers from working properly. Though we don't have any documentation of these jamming up for any particular reason, you could imagine that trying to keep this thing clean in trench warfare would be pretty well a nightmare.
They attack our trench. We attack their trench.
Some people did manage to do that and use them effectively. You can tell that this does have a very robust locking system, as the timing dogs and ears are very, very, very pronounced on the cylinder. And the loading gate is actually the thing that helps this thing maintain the time, much akin to some other European revolvers of that time. This revolver was also, after World War II, put into police use all the way up to the 1960s. This makes it one of the longer running revolvers in French service history. It also makes it one of the longest running double action revolvers from the 1800s that was used into modern history. This definitely is a piece worthy of any collection, and I think that it's something that will stand the time just because of how well this particular revolver was built.
Classic, timeless.
So as we look at this, this holster, like I said, was designed for a saber belt. You've got these two flaps. You'd maybe carry it in an actual belt through these flaps, but it would actually hang or hook onto that saber belt so that you would be able to ride with it. That it would be able to move back and forth as you mounted a horse. Again, extra probably maybe, I don't know what you'd put in here, if it was ammo or firing pins, or it could be a number of different things that were cleaning kit associated to the revolver itself. That you've got the Saint Etienne arms script right there on the right hand side of the revolver. This is also the takedown of the revolver to take the side plate off for cleaning and all other sorts of maintenance that were involved. This is the serial number here, this F series script there on the side of the firearm. The commercial models would not have had a serial number like this, or the Saint Etienne script on that side plate. They would have been scripted here at the top, where the sight picture, the rear ramp is shown. You can see the model 1892 here at the very top of the top flat of the barrel, and then as you rotate it, you have the S marking, and this is at 1893. So this is a second year production gun. Beautiful shape. Even the grip panels are intact. You have some proofing here from the Saint Etienne barrel proofing. Some obvious speckling from being in the holster for all this time, but it was a double action design, so you could pull it single action, double action, boom, boom, like that. Boom, boom. You pull the side loading gate down, and then this crane pops out. You've got a star ejector. Again, this wasn't shot much, just because or used much. The star ejector is very, very sharp and crisp. You see a lot of wear on things like this as you shoot and eject a lot of shells. But everything's so stiff. I was saying about how you could ride and reload at the same time. There's that big spring that I was talking about that keeps this crane. I mean, it does not swing out like you would expect a revolver to swing out. And it's not because it's greasy or gummed up or anything. It's because the spring is causing tension on that crane, keeping it in place. So wherever you might have it fall or land, it's going to stay there so you can reload it and then snap back into place. Very, very positive feeling revolver as far as, controlling the crane, controlling the firing mechanism. The other thing on the commercial models versus the military models, you can barely see it, but there's actually a pin that's been polished down here for this firing pin. You'd find a screw here if this was a commercial model. So as we kind of just rotate this out, and I haven't done this yet, so if we break this, we can all be in shock that I broke a revolver from the 19th century. So, oh, there we go. And as we flip this over, then we can see the side plate will come up here, or should come up here. Hello. You maybe have to speak to it in French to open it up. I'm not sure. Bonjour. Hello, monsieur. Not sure. Maybe this needs to come open. I don't know. I have no idea how to open this actually. Ooh, there we go. Maybe just some stickiness from 2 world wars. Oh, there we go. So now we can see the internal works, and this has actually been beautifully preserved, and we should be able to take a look at all this. Ooh, that's cool.
Wow, 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 wow.
We got some proof marks here from the arsenal here in the grip. Looks like some black walnut, French black walnut, which is probably extinct, I believe. That doesn't actually exist anymore. You can see that, this is a very simplified system. I've seen the insides of some of the other revolvers that came in before this with, multiple springs. You got, one major leaf spring here. So definitely improvement, simplification. But, I mean, look how beautifully shiny the leaf springs and stuff are. It's always cool to open these old revolvers up and see what kind of maintenance that they required. So I would definitely not put this in something that like lived in a trench or anything like that. You would just see some obvious aspects of wear and tear from being in a damp environment, and that just does not exist here. So cool thing to see, how simple it is, how well it's been preserved and maintained. So yeah, that is the full exploded view of a 1892 French revolver.
Thanks for joining us this week while we talked about the 1892 French revolver. Comment, like, and subscribe down below. Follow our social media platforms. And come into the store as we showcase all of these rare and unusual firearms to buy and to keep in your own collection. Weekly videos will be posted every week. We post every day the new things that come into the store. We'll see you next week.